Type a Y. You can hear me. Excellent. Good to see you, everyone. And William, are you there? Just waiting for you to join, Will. Yes, he's hiding. I wonder if he's got a camera problem. Can't hear you, Will. And I can't see you. Just going to pause the recording until William comes on. Okay, so welcome everyone to Reconnecting with You with Your Soul Purpose. And with me, I've got William, who many of you already know, some of you don't. So just, mate, we've all typed in the text chat already how everyone's feeling, and let's get underway. Before we do, just type in the chat what, like, the main reason that you're here. Is it basically, is it to find your soul purpose? Is it because you're kind of already in it but want to know how to step more into it? Just type something in the chat. What attracted you to come here today? Find my soul purpose, Judith, Tony, excellent. So seeing there's a few people to learn and find soul purpose or clarify it. Very important thing. Journey to reconnect, Antonella. Great. Hi, Antonella, by the way. Nice to see you again. So on that note, let's get underway. So it's going to be around a 60-minute today of your time. And just basically, please feel free to put questions in. Just understand that we'll be mainly taking questions at the end, unless they relate to the flow of the webinar. So this is probably one of my favorite quotes. And it makes me think of what Christ said in the Bible. He said, unless you be born again, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. In other words, unless you can find a new birth that inspires you and something that actually gives you the reason why you are on earth, there's always that sense of emptiness and meaningless. And every religious text talks about this. In the Holy Bible, for example, in the book of Ephesians, it talks about this sense of futility we feel until we get awakened and until we find that connection where, like we put it in DNA activation stuff, the light bulbs switch on and we realize how everything starts to work. And you know, when you've hit that moment, there's a sense of flow, there's a sense of excitement, there's a sense of natural harmony, ease, grace, and flow. So let's start to walk through. So what you're going to be learning is pretty much our own enhanced 3-step protocol to reconnecting to your soul purpose and living it in your daily life. And this is something that we found that, yeah, look, finding purpose and doing that. I've been to many workshops over the years, and so many people are walking around lost, and rarely do they get it. And generally, I find it's one of a few different reasons. One reason is that basically people just don't know it. Another reason is that people do know it, but feel stuck and just can't seem to step into it. Or they basically know it, they're in it, but they can't seem to integrate it fully into their daily lives. So 1, they don't know it at all. 2, they know it, but feel stuck. Or 3, they know it, they're living it to a degree, but they're not fully living it. Which one would represent each of you here? Just type a 1, 2, or 3. 1 means you really don't know. 2 means you know, but you feel stuck. 3 means that you know and you're in it, but you're just not living it fully. Just type 1, 2, or 3 in the chat. I want to get a bit of a feel. Getting quite a few 1s, couple of 3s, couple of 2s. Oh, it's a real mix. It's a real mix today, so that's good. A real mix. 2 seems to be the most common one, interestingly enough. So on that note, so that's what you'll be learning. The first step about how to awaken and reconnect your soul purpose by remembering who you are really. And William will be covering that part. He'll be walking you through something that changed both Will and my life. Like, Will, when we discovered who our soul groups was, how different did life become for both of us?
Yeah, massive change. Definitely established that identity.
Yeah, I have a very strong idea as to what I'm called to do on earth. And also you learn what you need around you to make it happen, basically.
Yeah,
So
so it's a combo of both, so it covers everything.
correct, yes. So that's the first thing. The second thing, and that's for those of you who are number one, but who put one. For those of you who put two, basically on how to clear up the shit which stops you from living your soul purpose and the most effective way of doing it. And the third step is for those of you who put three in there, is how to integrate it and transform into your daily life. So all of you are covered today. So at the end, we're going to be giving you the opportunity to enroll in this 3-month fast track program to go through this this 3-step protocol to basically awaken to, live your soul purpose, and experience prosperity in health, wealth, relationships, and in all areas of life. And the biggest reason for that is to help you find a meaningful life worth living. In mental health programs, in what's called DBT or dialectical behavior therapy, Marsha Linehan is considered that most of the courses are premised on her teachings. And basically the whole nature of Marsha Linehan's work is basically how to have a life worth living. In other words, a meaningful life. And in fact, this is her book for you. Building a life worth living. And this is the foundation of just about every major mental health stuff, where she shares about her own stories from a suicidal teenager to one of the most leading world developers of a life-saving behavioral therapy. And it's amazing what happens when people find their purpose. Byron Katie's another one. Does some of the most brilliant teachings on how to shift issues fast. Grew up in severe abuse, horrific childhood, and that was her journey to find a life worth living and find a purpose. Buckminster Fuller stood on a bridge ready to jump off and kill himself, and as he's about to jump, heard a voice saying to him, "Your time isn't finished yet. You have things to do." And he stopped and ended up becoming one of the greatest philanthropists that the world has known, and by being true to himself. So really, when you find who you really are, life becomes very different. And it doesn't mean that struggles suddenly miraculously stop and like, oh my God, life has become so easier. Life definitely becomes a lot easier than it did previously, that's for sure. But more than anything, but even when you have challenges, they don't seem to bother you as much, and you tend to know very quickly when you're off track. And so it's all about helping you experience a life worth living. Who would basically would say that's what you're really seeking by coming here, to really have a meaningful life worth living, something that makes you think, I fucking love life. This type of wife, that's really the thing that's here. Yep, Tony, a few others. Telling you it's the best feeling. Took me a while to get to that point. I remember the day I had it. Life literally changed overnight for me. I had a Mark Twain moment when I realized why I was born to be here, the reason why I was born. Went from a miserable, and people who know me now know I'm pretty chatty, pretty confident. Believe you me, I was an unbelievably insecure teenager. I go to youth group, I could hardly speak. I was so shy. I felt worthless. I had a major issue. I was terrified to even ask a girl out on the date. I just couldn't imagine why anyone would ever go out with me. I had major hangups, and finding my purpose and having my biggest spiritual encounter changed my life. And I'll share a bit more about that as we go through this. So even if you don't get this offer, you're going to get some great value today, because some of you are going to buy the program and some of you aren't. It's that simple. So generally what I find is these are the two main reasons that everyone tells me why they're not living their purpose. It's they either don't know what it is, or they do, but they absolutely are frustrated as heck because they have no idea how to clear what's stopping them from doing it. They're the two main reasons. So these are the different things as well. Like, does this sound like you? Basically, number one is that you feel disconnected and have no idea why you're here. And we've kind of covered that as before. Number two is that money isn't an issue, but that's that reason number one, is that you just feel frustrated. You really don't honestly know why you're here and what the purpose of you being here is. So that's the first thing, if that sounds like you and if you can relate to that. Number two is you may even have money, that may not be a problem. But as Joseph Murphy says in The Power of the Subconscious Mind, not knowing your purpose won't stop you getting money. He said you can make money and be very miserable, as many of the elite show. He says, but making money doing something that you love, but your sole purpose brings joy, it brings good health, brings happiness, and a relaxed state of mind and body. I've met many clients who are very wealthy who aren't living their purpose. They admit it, but they're very good at making money. Many of them have got heavy, dense energies. They're miserable. They're just basically, if anything, they said their money's a burden and cause them a lot of stress, the responsibilities of running it and things like that. So you may know your soul purpose, but you're just stuck and you just don't know how to stop the sabotage. And another one is that you're in a really great place in your life, but you're just like, Warren, I'm ready to smash through and just get through to the next level of transformation in your soul journey. So really, without knowing your soul purpose, you're vulnerable to things like my experience of people who tend to get this is like attracting bad experiences of money, usually are not connected with their purpose or have disconnected from it, so to speak. So when you basically become vulnerable to it, Dr. John DeMartini says that money without meaning leads to debauchery. Money with meaning leads to philanthropy and service. And I'll say that again, it's so powerful. Money without meaning will lead to debauchery. In other words, you'll basically do vaccine experiments on people. You'll go to Epstein Island. You'll hire orgies. You'll get drunk. You'll just accumulate possessions for the sake of it. Money with meaning leads to philanthropy because you quickly realize that my money's better served leaving a legacy, making a difference. And the question is, which one do you want to be? Do you want to be the one with the money with meaning or the money with debauchery? And hopefully, because otherwise, this is what starts to happen. You don't know your purpose, you end up being in a job business you hate. Whereas when you know who you really are, you either attract into work that you love, or even if you're in a job or business that isn't your ideal, you can find meaning in doing it. The example I like to give people is my friend Annalise, who wanted to be an Olympic swimmer. Every morning we'd get up at 4 a.m. to do training. And I remember saying to her, you must hate it. She goes, I do. But she goes, I still get excited because I see that goal. I want that. I want to be in the Olympic team. And that's what drives me. So you start to do things. For example, I'm not really someone who likes admin. Who can relate to me? But you just don't like admin. Just type a Y if you're like, yeah. Like who does not really like admin all that much? But I'm good at it. And I find meaning in it because I know when I do good admin, I make more money, my business runs better, my work runs better, and things get more organized in my life. So I've learned to like admin, not because I like it, but because I like the outcome it brings me. So this is why even in your work, you can find meaning in it when you start to know your purpose. Antonella likes admin. Every now and again, we get someone who loves it. I have this kind of comment that you know when someone's a good bookkeeper because they're a very annoying person. And that's my rule. You know when someone's a good bookkeeper because they're annoying. In other words, they don't like anything not to balance. And they frustrate you because they won't let you get away with anything. So that's my rule of a bookkeeper. Another one is experiencing toxic, heartbreaking relationships. And there's a very good book called The 5 Agreements or 4 Agreements. And the example which the guy gives, Miguel Ruiz, he says, imagine, for example, that basically you're very miserable, you're lonely, and you're starving. And someone knocks on the door and offers to give you a year's supply of pizza, food, whatever you want, but you must basically sign over the rights to your life and everything like that and come fully under their control and become their lover. But it's a good chance you will say yes if you're really not knowing who you are, you're broke and miserable. If, for example, you were full, you were well fed, you were happy, you would laugh at them and say, get out of here, you idiot. So you tend to be more likely to attract toxic, heartbreaking relationships. You're more prone to become miserable and depressed. Depressed just simply means, in my experience, you've lost connection with who you really are and your purpose. And William will tell you in his own story, which I won't steal his thunder now when he shares in a minute, how he was a very miserable, depressed teenager and how he totally found meaning when he found basically the reason why he was born. Health issues, as Louise Hay will say in her book about how to heal your life, generally dis-ease. Just about any health issue comes back to emotional stresses of some kind or where you're out of balance. And I've noticed that just about anything in my life, when I start to have problems or something, there's something not flowing in my life and I'm out of purpose and out of alignment. So my question is today, type in the text chat me if you really are willing to take radical action to commit to it and to reconnect and commit to clearing your shit. Just type a me if that's you. It's kind of calling everyone out here. Good, a few of you. I hope so. Otherwise, you're watching a Netflix movie today. And William and I definitely aren't as sexy as some people on Netflix, although we're doing okay for ourselves, I'm sure. So what we want to do is show you a bit about the path to reconnect your soul purpose, manifest wealth, and have a fulfilled, meaningful life. So we'll tell you first a little bit about ourselves, so to speak. So I will start with me. Look, I'm a kind of bit of a weird one, as those of you who know me. I'm a qualified accountant, lawyer, financial planner. In other words, I'm a first-class nerd. I've even got honors and all kinds of degrees. But really, ever since 18, my quest has been to understand the mysteries of life, bring about a spiritual awakening, and set up a new breed of religion. That's really been my purpose. And I've known that since I was 18. Up until 18, 21, I was as miserable as you'll get. And that was when I was sharing. And I had an encounter in a Pentecostal church where I went there and I actually said that if something doesn't happen today, I'm never going to basically go back to church again. And the preacher said, there's a young man here, and he quoted what I said in my head. I went up the front and got prayed for, and I was in a trance for quite some time and came out of it a totally different man. And found out later I'd flown back and hit the ground so hard they thought I was injured. And all I remember was someone catching me. So that was when I knew. And I knew that my calling, I was called to serve God and bring spiritual awakening with people. And really, since that time, I've continued to have deep awakenings. I had one in 2014 in Sedona when I knew I had to walk away from a law firm. 2004 was when I began my own first church. 2014 was my awakening in Sedona when I came back, shut down my law firm, and everyone thought I'd gone mad because I knew that my path was to do this kind of stuff and run a wealth education center. And then 2018 was when I literally was taken to heaven over many days and had profound encounters, which really affected me for many, many months afterwards, where I was shown my path and shown what was going to happen. I was shown about COVID that was going to come. I told people about it at the time. We all thought I was a little bit off the charts. And yeah, basically since that time, I've been heavily on this path. So really, this is what I'm about, creating a new breed of religion and consciousness, because I think the current religion is outdated now. We need a new one that's inclusive, that really recognizes the God in just about all of them, and committed to teaching some of the ancient mystery school techniques and healing. I'm very interested, for example, in metaphysical healing, like Louise Hay stuff, and healing stuff using energy and understanding. I'm really big on understanding manifestation around wealth and relationships and creating intention and clearing blocks and that. And really fascinated in deeper levels of magic and how to teleport and stuff like that. But most importantly, how to take this and bring it into your daily life to transform the quality of your life, in your business, in your marriages, your relationships, and ultimately return back to God and really experience real ascension. So that's a little bit about me, and who I am and what I'm about. And now we're going to let William, who's really, as some of you know, my son. He's basically, does me very proud, does a great job in this thing. He's known his path since he was very young. But rather than steal his thunder, Will, I'll let you share about yourself.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Warren. Just type Y in the text chat, everyone, if you can hear me okay. Okay, brilliant. Yeah, so just a little bit about me. I'm the head clairvoyant healer of the Awakening Within, based in Perth, WA. So that's where me and Warren are based, and we run most of it online. Ultimately, who I am professionally as a healer, it's all about bringing back people back to the original blueprint of joy, happiness, and creativity, so that they can operate at their full potential in the 3D. And hence the name, even with the company, the Awakening Within, right, Warren?
Right.
The whole idea is to awaken within, so we can operate in our full potential in this 3D realm. So as we bring the heaven to us, we that can then bring it to earth to the people. So now, and what I do is help people to heal their trauma, negative emotions, highest priority blockages, so that they can access their intuition and operate from spirit in this realm. Once again, the heaven to earth, so to speak. also teaching the ancient mystery school healing techniques and tools to help people to apply the spiritual and esoteric knowledge practically in their day-to-day life so that they can accelerate on their path to ascension and ultimately return back to God. So that's a bit about me, who I am professionally as a healer. Okay, now I'll share on my journey and how I got onto this path. Now, growing up, it wasn't the easiest, especially for me, and it was very hard, especially in my early years. And I was a walking ball of pain and anger due to feeling devoid of love growing up and not feeling love. Because as you know, Warren, me, you, and mom and all, like we went through that healing journey together in a way, you could say. So we were
Right.
going through this healing journey together. So of course, like at the time, you guys could only give what you were capable of back then. But since then we've been able to resolve and communicate about it, and of course the connection was able to be restored and better than ever ultimately. But I attended school until year 8, and well, my parents pulled me out due to feeling depressed and suicidal being there. And that was what some of the worst years of my life was year 7 and 8 when I was depressed and I was suicidal. Because of course in school and in other works of life, I didn't see anything that I could see myself doing. It just felt like a big cold void of like darkness of nothing. But then what happened was Warren, of course, like and you'd remember this, Warren, like was learning from Ed Stratcher, a healer in the Philippines at the time. And one day we were at the ditch park, and then I met you'd done the healing on me that you'd learned from Ed Stratcher, and that's where it was like an instant miracle healing. Because in that one clearing, that's when I was set free from my depression and suicidal thoughts, and that was how I began my journey on this spiritual esoteric path. Because well, it felt more than a life purpose to me, like and a calling. It also saved my life. And so since then, of course, I went from a rebellious kid who always gave teachers attitude and refused to do any work that they gave, to someone who would listen to Toby, the guys we learned from, for hours and hours. So like a total 180 turnaround. So in a way, I actually was fortunate. I got homeschooled from year 9 to 11 and became a lot happier and in purpose. So I pretty much underwent 4 years of spiritual university, you could say, studying and practicing quantum energy clearing. And in that, there were many adventures, as you know, Warren, like when we learned from Toby in Vegas, and then with the Win Buffet, when we changed the queue from 45 minutes to 10 minutes, then to no queue the next day. But and of course, I practiced on different family members and other people who are willing to, I guess, be my guinea pig, you could say, during that time when I was practicing my clearing. I also did Cert 3 in business admin at TAFE for my final year of schooling as well, and made it on to tonight, like TV media, through my business mentors at the time from my card magic. So yeah, yes, you could say it's been quite a ride, but it's what's brought me here today and continues to be the drive to accelerate forward really, and continue to carry out this much needed work. So yeah,
Brilliant.
thanks everyone.
Thanks, William. I just want to make a comment, having observed William pretty much, obviously, for obvious reasons, since he was young. The difference in him when he found his purpose was remarkable, and he was fortunate. He discovered his purpose very young, and I've often said to him, imagine what life would have been like for you if you'd been like me and took a lot longer, like most people. And he said, oh, goodness knows where I would have been, because he, at first, when he discovered it, you couldn't keep him away from study. He'd be studying YouTube on magic, on card tricks, on spiritual stuff, on DNA. He was hungry. And Dr. John Demartini says people are never really lazy. He said, it's just that we project our values of what they should be doing. And he said, when someone finds what they love doing, they'll put the energy into it. He said, you get some people, for example, who just want to be couch potatoes. They're really good at it. He gives the example. They just lie there all day eating chips, getting fat, and they're happy. And that is their purpose, you know? And as crazy as it sounds, finding who you really are, you'll notice that no one will ever motivate you to do who you really are and what you love doing. Like no one has to motivate me to sit down, teach spiritual stuff and help people with that. No one has to motivate me to go to the beach, to do dancing and to swim and things like that. No one has to motivate me to have coffee in the morning, you know, things that I love doing. No one has to motivate me to do the kind of business and teaching this kind of work. But you'll certainly have to motivate me to change light bulbs, to clean things and all that kind of stuff. So I don't even bother doing that because the thought of it is horrific. So who's like me, by the way, who basically knows that there's certain things you're very, very bad at doing. Tony puts, when you discover your life purpose, it becomes a joy, not a job. Tony, me. Yeah, everyone, as I say to my friends, everyone is an idiot in something. We all are. I remember years ago when my neighbor over the road, we had a wonderful time because I'm horrific practically with my hands. Those who know me, I'm horrific. Like I have no idea how to fix taps and stuff like that. And so I remember having a friend over the road who's the opposite to me. So I looked after his taxes, finances, you know, wills, and he would just look after anything in the house. So finding your purpose means you know who you are and you also know who you are not. So now how do we help you reconnect with it? So first, I just want to quickly explain about quantum energy clearing, because this is where you're clearing the energetic body, which is a whole different way of doing things, because we tend to focus on motivational soul power. This is what most things and most like Tony Robbins, and look, it's good, don't get me wrong. But when you actually get into the quantum level and tune into your psyche and your etheric body and fix things at the etheric level, as Dr. Venus Williams has discovered in her thesis, you get far faster results than fixing people's souls and motivating people. We don't want to motivate you today. We want to inspire you. We want to see you get born again and heal and clear the trauma and the blockages in the spiritual and emotional and astral bodies that are basically in the way of you doing it. So we tap in with higher beings, higher energies to practically bring the change and bring it into your life. Even yesterday in the new moon, I was doing kinesiology and doing some quantum energy clearing on myself. So on our enhanced soul purpose protocol, as I've mentioned, we've uncovered 3 steps for anyone to basically do this, okay? So the first step to reconnect your soul purpose is to know your soul group. So there are families or tribes you belong to on a soul level. Like if you're on this webinar today, pretty much I can guarantee you that not everyone on the planet comes from some awakened soul group. There's many people that are just earthers or normal people. But if you've attracted to this webinar today and like listening to us, almost for certain you've been drawn here. You know, as Morpheus said to Neo, you've been led here. Something about you knows that that is some higher purpose or calling which is in your soul and in your heart. So you come from this kind of, from a soul group or soul planet, and you've come for a specific work. So what I'm going to get to do now is get William to walk through the different soul groups. Like, for example, I know that I'm a blueprinter and I'm a specific type of blueprinter. I know that, say, Trent is another type, but it's a different type of blueprinter to me. That's why we work so well together and things like that. So, William, take it away. I'll let you take it from here. And these soul groups.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, everyone. Now, before we get started, just a quick disclaimer. These details that you're about to see of each of the 7 soul groups more give the general picture and outline of each soul group. Your individual purpose and gifts might be different, but it gives more of an outline and like jumping off the page, so to speak. That's the main thing, is that it jumps off the page for you. All right, yeah, now next slide. Okay, we'll kick this off by starting off with the Alpha Centauri, known as the Protectors. Now, this style group is strong mentally and is more analytical and problem solving type. So, in other words, this is someone who's more objective than emotional, so to speak. In other words, they're more intellectually based, and at heart, they are protectors and guardians. What they're very good at would be things like, of course, well, business manager or accounting, bookkeeping, pretty much stuff which involves the objectivity, problem solving, that type of stuff. So they're also action and service oriented. So that means that that's the best way that you would show them love, for example. They also do have a lot of love in them. They're not total emotionless AI robots, but that what they just have trouble expressing themselves emotionally, and they just need to unlock that side to be able to let it come through. Okay, that's the Alpha Centauri, and of course, feel free everyone to just comment, ask questions as we go along. The next one we'll be covering is Arcturians, who are known as the healers. These guys are very strong beings in personality and willpower, and also great planners and organizers. You'll find that they're always several steps ahead and they know the right steps to take to be able to complete and execute their plans in the best way possible due to their forward thinking and looking at the future, not just the present. This, of course, means they're extremely intelligent and also natural born healers, especially with energy clearing. They'll also feel like they don't belong to their family, so they're like the black sheep, as a general rule. Also has a love for geometry, as it's a crucial part of their healing nature, in particular sacred geometry. And also love anything to do with science, mathematics, and different forms of ways to improve the planet. So they'll be drawn to it and talented in it as well, in at least one or more of them. Their mission ultimately is bringing in the new future to make a balanced community in both spirit and matter. Okay, the next one here is the blueprinter, the engineers. We'll now cover them. Now, these beings have an incredible sense of how the world is meant to be and are very dedicated to the evolution of mankind. The name kind of speaks for itself, the blueprinter. So, of course, like the beings that were tasked and assigned by God to build up the blueprint of Earth and run it. They're great visionaries and spiritually advanced as well, so more spiritually advanced than most. They're also very strong beings in personality and willpower. They have a very powerful mission, which is to restore humanity to its original divine blueprint of joy, happiness, and creativity, and restore the DNA template to its correct function. In other words, bring us back to that original blueprint. And some of you have probably heard me and Warren mention that before, going back to the blueprint. That's what these blueprinters do. And they're a very rare type
just
as
a quick
well.
comment, Will. Like I know with the Arcturians, you generally, if you see really great healers who got a tremendous gift of that, you normally got an Arcturian you're dealing with. When you're dealing with someone who's leading a visionary and putting something together, you're normally dealing with a blueprinter.
Yes, that's correct. But yes, and so we won't go into too much detail, but we'll do a quick breakdown of the 5 blueprinter types. Now, the first one you've got is the originator. So, of course, that one, as you said earlier, is your one, Warren. Now, the originators are like the architects, you could say. They're the ones who were assigned to construct the blueprints and the plans of the Earth. So they're especially like got magical qualities and are very wise souls, and actually can tune in quite easily. But they also can become like an embittered outcast if they're not careful, and like a hermit, which you probably experience, which you've experienced before, right, Warren?
Yep.
The disillusionment can kick in if you're not careful. But yeah, but otherwise, the originators are the ones, and that's why the designers work very well with you, because like Trent, because the designers, of course, are like the ones who do the hands-on work. But yeah, we'll speed this up anyway. So designers are the ones who do the hands-on work and implement what the originators created and constructed, and beautify it, make it look good. Technicians are the ones who built up like the detailed complexity of the makeup, such as the chakra system, the DNA, the 12-strand DNA, that type of stuff. Then the deliverers are the ones who are here to deliver the blueprint, aka this stuff, and keep re-delivering it. So they're like the messengers or like evangelists, type, so to speak. Then the changes are here to well, help people to integrate what the deliverers and the other types have given. So the changes follow up in more the specialized follow-up service, much like a carer after someone is discharged from the hospital. All right, we'll now get into Hadarian, the lovers, the fourth soul group. Okay, now naturally Hadarians have encoded unconditional love within them. However, they tend to expect it from other people. What they need to be mindful of is victimization, as they will fall into conditional love and withdraw it if they perceive that the other person is not giving them that. What this means is they need to learn to love regardless of what comes back and remove anyone who takes advantage of their love and is just there to take. Also focus on relationships. So if you're offering something on like a course on or something of that kind which teaches relationships, they'll be the first one to sign up because they've got a very big focus and value on that area. However, they tend to have difficult times with loving relationships. But what they do have is a great intuition and sense of people, places, and things. So they're very in tune with their feelings and with spirit. Okay, the next one here is the mission Rama or the governors. And these guys are natural born leaders or governors. In other words, you could say that they're born to rule this soul group. And what they did is they came here to bring light to the planet. They're also creative and artistic and feel like they don't belong here. And they feel very uncomfortable in general. Also highly intelligent and advanced spiritually. Where again they're unique and where it's interesting is that they're gentle and they watch life happen rather than engage. So they're not actually the typical kind of iron fist kind of rulers or leaders, but they're very gentle, more benevolent. They're also insightful and peaceful souls. But however, they tend to be victimized and disempowered due to negative incarnations of family members or something else. All right, this next one here is the Pleiadian known as the light workers. Now, these guys are healers in some form, whether it's physical, spiritual, energetic, emotional. You'll find that they're very charismatic and charming. So, and people just draw to them much like a moth to a light. They can also inspire people into action with their words. So it means that they're great public speakers, and these are the ones that can lead and that can get people moving. And they love to talk, speak, and teach, and also love being the center of attention, right in the limelight. You'll find that they're sensitive, creative, and often in the arts of some form, whether it's music, whether it's or drawing, painting, or anything of that kind, or even theatre, drama. They're idealistic and they have great ideas, but what they need to learn is the implementation side of things, whether they get someone else to do it or whether they do it themselves. Also need to learn to speak their truth and be able to set their boundaries. Okay, now we'll cover this final soul group, the Syrian known as the innovators. Now, these guys have the gift of taking something that exists and putting it on steroids. So these aren't the types of people that will reinvent the wheel. They'll more take that wheel and then like make it 10 times better. So they're goal and project oriented and forward thinking. So they're long-term thinkers. Now, these are the guys that would also turn like a $1 million business into 100 million. So you can see that these guys are the ones that make things a lot better, something that already exists much better. But they're also uplifting and hopeful and very systematic. And they're also advanced technologically, intellectually, and also are expansive in their mind space. They're also analytical and organized. So you can see they're actually quite balanced beings. Their issue is that they're a little afraid of embodying their full power, which is the main thing for them to overcome. All right, we'll now cover how do you discover your soul group. There are two ways that you can work out your soul group. First way is the intuitive sense, the most common one, which is where you get a feel of the energy on each of the soul groups and go through them. And just pay attention and notice to how you feel when you sense into each soul group, if your energy rises, stays the same, or drops. You'll find that your vibration and frequency will match one soul group in particular. It will just jump off the page. Your soul may have even resonated with one in particular as I was speaking about them. Now, ultimately, there will always be one soul group or soul family that you'll resonate with more than the others. And sometimes it may take a second, but the most important thing is letting the answer reveal itself to you in divine right timing. The other way that you can do this, and this way is probably better, you could say is almost better, is meditation and tuning in. This is where you'd set aside a good amount of time for meditation. Before you begin, you set a clear intention that your soul group will be revealed. Remove all internal and external distractions and go to a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. You then get into a deep brain state using meditation music and deep breathing, making sure to set up the protective ritual as well. Then once you've gotten into that relaxed receptive state and the meditation session is flowing, you've got the ritual set up, you then ask your higher self to reveal your soul group. After that, that's when you trust, let go, and let God reveal the answer. You then take necessary action that you're led to do. Okay, so before we hand back over to Warren to continue on, which soul group resonates the most with you? Just type in the text chat if any of those 7 stood out for you in particular.
Linda, Pleiadian light worker. Yeah.
Yeah, Glenda, light worker. Okay, the Pleiadian. Julia, Pleiadian. Tony, not sure. I need to review. Yeah, well, that's okay, Tony. You just yeah, review it and let it process and come in its own time. Sometimes it can take a second or a bit of time.
This is generally why soul group readings are very useful. They can help you get a bit of an idea. And
Yeah.
And Stella asked basically, you know, can you change soul groups throughout your lifetime? Generally, the answer is that no. You know, you come as a soul group, but of course, you can always. This is why we have other soul groups to learn and evolve and move between various roles and things like that.
The way I see it is like a physical family. Like, well, no one, for example, would be able to replace you as my father by blood. And no matter what kind of fucking complications or surgeries that either of us did, right? So
Correct.
and that same applies in the soul group or soul family. That's the one you're with, and like that's the one that you'll be in.
Yes.
Because soul groups aren't something that you can just switch over like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but yeah, Judith says maybe Mission Realm, and Aiden not sure. Okay, this is interesting. We've got two Pleiadians and a Mission Realmer so far.
Got a few different ones, haven't we?
Yep. The Mission Realmer one is interesting because they were kind of hidden away for a while, but they're starting to reveal themselves now.
Yeah, which is good, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, that one of my your brother is a mission realmer, isn't he?
yeah, Joe. Yeah, he's a Mission Realmer.
Yeah.
And well, Joe was one of the only Mission Realmers I knew for a long time until like recently. And Tom's also said Mission Realmer. And yeah, so I can confirm it too, like, because me and Tom, of course, like, well, we've done our readings, so Tom is that Mission Realmer. Sophie needs to review. Tom, I can't find much material on it or books. Do you have any recommendations? Um, yeah, you could, if you go and Google Tom and research the Mission Realmers, I think there's this site, Ascension Glossary or something that might have it. Tony's asking to show the list of soul groups again, Warren.
Yeah, I mean, is that
Uh,
start, was it?
what's that?
Let me have a quick look. Well, yeah, this is just the soul groups. So basically, as a bit of a summary, so what we're going to do now, just because time is getting a bit short, we're going to basically keep moving. So we've covered about soul groups and about doing that. And this is the beauty with the program. If you do decide to do it, or if you're already doing it, we can guide you. You know, William will work with you to work out your soul group. The other thing is soul gifts, which are divine gifts and like talents you've been given, but we won't be covering this today. Otherwise, we'll be here all night. So we've covered the first step, which is really knowing who you are. So once you have a bit of an idea who you are, the next step is to actually do it and live it and clear the shit that's actually in the way. So the way I describe it, it's like you may, for example, let's just say you want to go and become a runner or a dancer, or you want to climb mountains and you start doing it and your body is like, oh my God, because your body's not conditioned. Or you start to do stuff and notice you're always tired, and then you realize you've got parasites and things like that. Or you want to lose weight and you have this vision where you see yourself as a fit running marathon runner, but you're very fat because you've got a lot of parasites. So then you do a bit of a detox. So my experience is that people who have great difficulty living their purpose have got a lot of what I call sabotages, parasites, energetic blocks within their system that are stopping you doing it. Because I remember when I knew my purpose, there was a long time when I just kept on getting roadblocks and having sabotages and things like that until I worked out how to do this. So I did a lot of work in discovering how to clear up the shit, basically. So the clearing process, I like to think of it like a really decent purge or detox that you're going to be doing. So part of the program is knowing who you are, but a lot of it is going to be learning to clear your energy out. This can change your life radically. So part of what is done in the program is you're actually given one-on-one clearing sessions to help you clear blocks, and been given tools and time to integrate. I still to this day do clearing sessions regularly. William and I once a week do this when we have our weekly meeting where we go through practical matters and get all that out of the way, and then we do our energetic clearing for ourselves and the business every single week without fail. That's how important this actually is in clearing. So I do that with myself, and I even do regular kinesiology. I do regular etheric body energetic clearings on myself. So what do we clear? Again, all these things are webinars in themselves. One of my favorite is Raymond Grace, a great master who taught William and I a lot about clearing. He has a bit of a checklist. So we would do this and regularly check. Often I find when I'm really out of whack, if I check, I'm being impacted by Schumann resonance 5G. I have actually got myself tested on machinery, which is shown before and after, where I've gone ahead and it's shown me out of balance, done energetic work, and then the machine remeasures me and I'm balanced. So when I get checked up on now, 5G, all this kind of stuff is not even affecting me now when I get measured on machinery that can measure this and the impact on me. So clearing the impact of this kind of stuff, negative energetic patterns, thought forms, things from that we clear as well. Another thing, these are just examples of what we do in our checklist. Many people, you're actually not fully in your body. And so calling back in soul fragrance into your body. I can remember when I went through a stage after my marriage separation, and I was, quite sexually active. And I remember I was all over the place. And I remember working with a shaman who said this to me. He goes, you realize that many of your soul fragments are locked up with all these other people that you've been intimate with. And I said, really? He said, yes. So we did about 3 sessions over a month where I called back my soul and cleared everything out. Couldn't believe the difference. And so I still to this day do that. Regularly call back my soul fragments into my body and ground them. Things like clearing curses, hexes, and spells and negative. This is less common, but these things can affect you. This is another one that can affect you as well. We check on the effect of water, which you're drinking and which is around you. These are just examples of what we do. This is what we learned from Raymond. Like we actually invite the spirit of water, because when water's been polluted and had fluoride in it, it can literally, the spirit of the water will leave it. The American Indians and the indigenous know about this. And so we invite the spirit of water back in. And these are just some examples of all the different things, and we've mentioned them and just listed out. So we just do this as an intention. The biggest thing what we've learned is that all clearings are about your intention and setting your focus on what you want to clear from yourself. We've often part of what we do is we turn all energy of hate into pure love, or all energy of attack into prosperity and things like that. So then we look at clearing your auric attachments. So basically what they are is negative entities or energies which exist within our auric field or light body. So basically, these are very, very powerful. I find auric clearings are probably, for me, one of the most effective things that to this day I still do and find changes my life, so to speak. So when I'm actually doing auric clearing, I don't think there's anything that will clear you faster than this. It's one of the most powerful thing that you can possibly do to really clear out yourself. So auric attachments are like these negative entities. They can range from barbs, hooks to spears, demons, wounded souls. They get us in the way of connecting to our higher self and receiving full clarity. They also have the ability to drain our auric fields, basically, and keep us from functioning with optimum functioning and efficiency. And this is what Dr. Venus Williams has discovered in her thesis in Romania, that eventually they manifest in your physical life if you haven't cleared them from your auric field. So I'm very mindful of that. In other words, if you suddenly get a health issue or an accident, science has now shown that that was already in your etheric body. It was waiting there. Things don't magically happen to you. They are sitting there waiting to manifest in the physical. I remember years ago when I learned about this, and I was doing some work with a very good person, and I'd been getting gallbladder problems on and off. I'd had big issues before, and he actually said to me, he goes, "You realize you got a gallbladder attack hanging in your etheric body." The moment he said it, I knew he was right because I've been feeling it building. He goes, "You want me to help you clear it?" I said, "Yes, please." So we did a clearing on that one. He said, "Now watch what happens next few weeks. You'll probably be led to do a fast." And I got led to do this apple cider vinegar lemon juice fast over a few days. And that was the end of my gallbladder attack. It stopped happening. So this is how powerful it is. William, I'm going to get you to walk through people just quickly, because obviously I'm mindful of time, the different types of auric attachments.
Oh yes. So we'll go through these quickly. Now, an occupant, what this is a soulless thought form that thinks it owns your body and hinders one's evolution. These are created by emotional charges or neural networks that come from experiencing trauma, like putting a lot of emotional energy into anger, fear, or some kind of negative emotion for that you experience from a negative or traumatic experience and not letting it go. So the more that you get triggered and activate with it, then the more solidified and condensed it becomes. So hence the hardness of heart. Okay, Warren, oh, I didn't catch that, Warren, you're muted.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say that a bit like a partner who cheats upon you and you come and find him in the act and it just sends you into shock.
Yeah, you go into shock, freeze for that moment in time, experience trauma, and then that's when, of course, the occupant can be created. Then you've got IDS. Now, this is a soul fragment alive and well affecting somebody from the past, which embodies an attitude, belief, concept, paradigm that someone identifies with. Now, this is created when someone goes analogical, in other words, experiences trauma and freezes for that moment in time. Now, these correspond with personalities that play out in the body, and the id will be located in the chakras. Like not speaking a truth would be the fifth one, or around love, the fourth one, etc. But the personalities are the shadow selves of the ids, and these are spawned in one's body when the ids form on the quantum level. This is like the darker or lower aspect of your personality that plays out. In other words, as we've seen, the trauma and these ids more bring you at your worst instead of at your best. Then you have the archetypes. Now, okay, for some that's strange. This slide doesn't quite match up.
No, it seems to
Hmm.
strange. Okay.
Strange, but well, I guess you could type it as we go along then.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So, well, what an archetype is like an attitude, belief, or something that somebody like identifies and carries with them. Like, so, and it's basically like it's the holographic way that your brain stores an attitude, belief, paradigm, or something like that. Well, of course, like what we experience throughout life and like the influences we have a dramatic effect on our worldview, how we view things. And so these archetypes are like the id complexities or the shadow self. So as these get cleaned out, that's when we slowly regain inner peace again. Yeah, so and so of course, like it like for example, if someone experienced like abandonment and they haven't healed it, and there's an archetype in that sense, then then like that what can easily then happen is like a hatred towards women or the mother, just as an example. So yeah, we'll continue on now. Yes, so these are like the true shadow selves. But anyway, then the discarnates are beings who have died but haven't passed through the tunnel to the plane of bliss yet. and are stuck in the fourth dimension. And you and I can agree, Warren, these are like some of the worst critters in this one.
Oh, these buggers mess you up so much if you let them get in.
Yeah, I
Let
mean,
me just make a comment on this. So a good example is, let's just say, you got to understand that often when beings die, if they die in trauma, they don't actually cross over properly. They stay stuck in the fourth dimension. And this is something that Raymond Grace was teaching. Most Indigenous shamans are aware of. And Aboriginal elders often, that's why they want to really be careful to cross souls over. And the Tibetan Book of the Dead is all about this. And as an example, let's just say you're a soul, you basically died, but you don't realize you've actually haven't crossed over yet. You don't realize you're dead, or you know you're dead, but you don't have a body to identify with. It's a horrible feeling. So what they do is they look for a body they can go to, who they can suck energy from. So it's common to see, let's say, for example, that you're an alcoholic in this lifetime or discarnate, and then he's trying to find energy. He will find someone who resonates with him. So let's say he finds someone in a pub who's a drunken, depressed person like he was. Energetically, they'll connect enough so he can go in and feed off his energy. And I can remember, until I learned about this, I often used to feel my energy being drained, and I couldn't understand why. And knowing how to clear discards is a real skill, and how to get them out of your energy auric field.
oh, big time. I mean, these guys also, of course, were a big responsibility in my dark periods as well.
Yeah, I know when I'm feeling, my rule of thumb is if I'm feeling really despondent and kind of a heaviness, usually there's a discarnate quite often. If I'm feeling this anger or kind of fear or kind of irritation, it can be, sometimes can be emotional, but often that can be a demon. So there's a very big difference between a demon. The difference between a discarnate and a demon, a discarnate's a human who's just died and doesn't actually realize they haven't crossed over, or they know, but they don't know what to do. And usually they're harmless, they're just messed up souls, but occasionally they are malevolent, whereas demons are straight out higher beings that have turned to the dark. So they're very different. So normally it's a very different feeling.
Yes, well, demons are fallen angels that have turned to the dark side, whereas the
Yeah.
discarnates are people who have died but haven't passed through yet.
Yes.
And with the discarnates, it always depends, really, because most of the time they're actually more benevolent and just need that someone to help them get to where they need to go. Well, the malicious ones, when one is malicious, it's either due to karmic ties or they felt like there was a betrayal in a past life or somewhere. Yes, the next one here is the wormholes, and these are tunnels that connect a person's light body to another dimension. From here, entities feed off the person's energy through the wormhole. Yes, and these are created the same way as portals, which we'll get into now. These are openings or slits in a person's light body or auric field, which act as vacuums for other people's adverse thought forms. What this means is when you take on the energy and issues of someone else as if it's your own. And this leaves somebody with little to no energy. It can also cause depression, health issues, fatigue, etc.
One comment I want to make, Will, is with discarnates, basically Grace, who some of you know, she's works with the Awakening Within. She used to hate coming to my house, and I'd say why, and then eventually she told me. She said me and she brought one of her friends over, and the first thing they said is, "Oh my God, there's some kind of energy in this house I don't like." And we had two women die in our house, like literally my partner died. Then there was another one we found out who died before I took the house, and women in this house didn't tend to have very good experiences. And eventually I said to Grace, "Well, what are you seeing?" And she said, there's a woman here who hasn't basically, who's died but hasn't crossed over, who's absolutely, she's fine with you, but she doesn't like the women, and she's restricting the house." And I always used to notice this despondency, especially as I walked towards the far end of the house, and that's apparently where she was. So I tuned in and did a discarnate crossing over with her, and I did it quite pleasantly. I said she was going to have to leave. And literally, I didn't tell people I'd done it. Grace turned up and goes, "What's happened? The woman's gone now. Everything is fine." And since then, women have been coming to the house and feeling a lot better. And so that's how powerful this can actually be, and how these buggers can restrict your soul purpose. And
Yeah.
Yes, they can when you've got these things going on. And so Christine, who's here, knows, place a particular instance where we've had that in the house and that she's in, and then we've worked together to clear it out and see the difference straight away. So just thought I'd mention that. This is a very important part of discovering your soul purpose, because often you've got these karmic connections with these discarnates from other lifetimes that can hold you back. So we shamans and indigenous are very aware of that. So we put a lot of work into that one.
Yeah.
How do we clear these? Well, anyway, before we move on, how do we clear these?
These guys. Well, it first starts with calling in like the third order escort, of course, to to remove do you mean for the discarnate or the auric clearing?
They following this, yeah, the auric clearing.
Oh, sorry, yeah, yeah. Now the main method of clearing auric attachments is with an auric clearing. Now, this type of clearing is the fastest and most effective way to transmute attachments. All right, we'll now explore what an auric clearing is. What this means is to clear your auric field. Auric clearing involves scanning the multi-dimensional light body on all 15 layers. What it also uses is higher esoteric language, energy directing techniques, and relevant codes to communicate with your higher self, which is stationed in dimensions 4 to 15, as well as your subconscious mind to permanently transmute these attachments and get them cleaned out of your system on the quantum level, which then translates to the matter. You then recover golden soul fragments that represent pearls of wisdom from the issue being cleared. In other words, what's happening here is the brokenness is being cleaned out and the wholeness is being restored, you could say. Then at the end of the session, we download new chords, new templates, and new soul programming from your higher self. This, of course, will result in you embodying a much higher frequency in your life on every aspect and on every area. Plus, your reality can change by attracting and manifesting people, places, times, things, and events which resonate with your new higher frequency and in alignment.
Thank you, William.
Yeah,
So
thanks, Warren.
an auric clearing is without doubt, out of everything I've learned in mystery schools, is probably the thing I use the most, along with manifestation. This is like my detox protocol. I regularly do this. I check regularly whether there's discarnates, whether there's portals, whether there's wormholes, and William and I check each other once a week. So I cannot emphasize, and the beautiful thing is that with the Soul Purpose program we do an auric clearing and teach you how to do it so you can regularly do it yourself as well. So now the third step is a bit more simple to reconnect, is just to integrate it into your daily life. So generally how you do it is as you do the clearings, you've got to give time to process. That's the biggest thing. And then take action. So generally what happens as we do a clearing, like last night on the full moon, I did a big clearing myself. So I'm now integrating it. So you've got to give time to process it, to integrate the learnings, and then you go to the next level of your spiritual journey and your awakening. So Tom says, sounds very useful. I felt these things heaviness. Absolutely, Tom. I guarantee you that as you do auric clearings, you will be like blown away. These things done properly can bring profound shifts. In fact, for those of you who know Trent Chapman, poor old Trent, when he did his first auric clearing, felt like a truck hit him, he reckons. Took him 2 weeks to integrate the clearing, he told me later. So that's how effective these actually are when done properly. My first auric clearing, I felt like a truck hit me for about a week and needed to basically process all the changes. It's like a big detox purge. And then it gets easier. So the secret is to integrate this in your daily life, because otherwise it's no different to watching a Netflix movie. So we call it a recursive protocol, and recursive means that once it's done, it's done. You don't need to do it again. Now, it doesn't mean you don't need to do auric clearings again, but if you cleared something, it's gone forever. It's only going to be future auric things as you're ready to clear different things that will come up. So you'll be taught disciplines and habits and how to integrate to live your purpose in your daily life. And that's why we mix the clearings with recorded training. So otherwise, it's one thing to go and turn up and do a great clearing, but you can forget it all very quickly and very easily. So integration is really important. So on that note, before we go ahead and share about the program and take questions, Will just got a few success stories you want to share about, just some people you work with.
Yes, yeah. Now these are success stories of different people who have worked with me, and if we look at the participants even here today, there's quite a few of you that are working with me even right now. So this here is Dr. Shelby from Canada. I even did a collaboration with her in Awakening Within a few years ago, if you remember that, Warren.
I do.
Yeah, and so this one was very interesting because it actually brought objective numbers to energy clearing, where heart rate variability went from 54 to 81. Then her heart rate lowered from a weekly average of 50 to 54.
That's excellent.
Then Ashton Jane from Queensland. Now, when she worked with me, she did 4 one-on-one sessions, and after doing clearing and me giving her the techniques and the tools to be able to apply this work in practical life, um, she was able to become calmer, less reactive to situations, being able to deal with her kids, her husband, and other people a lot better, and handle stress much better, felt more grounded and not so much wanting to run away from the world. She was even able to manifest things much easier, and life became less chaotic and more in flow. And and her partner, even did the sessions with me as well, and he too got results like that. Then when we've got Sheldon from British Columbia. Now he was first introduced to me by Warren about more than 5 years ago now, probably more like 6 now. But over the years, he's done several courses for me, and he was actually one of my first clients, and some one-on-one sessions. So he's even mentioned that I helped him immensely on problems that the medical society couldn't, and that he wouldn't hesitate to recommend me to help you with any issue that you've got. All right, well, thanks, guys. Those are just a few examples of different people who have worked with me. So now over again to you, Warren.
Brilliant. So I just want to show you. I want to show you something. In fact, a video proof where actually I used energy clearing myself, and we filmed it. This was with a guy who used a machine that could actually. So my shoulder was playing up, as you can see here. So if it's below the black line in the middle, it means there's a problem. So yeah, the shoulder joint was playing up. Okay, let's do some energy work. Then I went ahead and did a whole lot of energy clearing. So this one goes for a while. But now as we finish the energy clearing, this is what came after we'd finished. Yep. Wow. And we did about 5 or 10 different videos of this. And to the point the guy I did this with was completely blown away because he uses homeopathy and other energy stuff to do it. So etheric clearing can get faster results than homeopathy than anything else you could possibly do.
No, that one is cool though. I'm just gonna make that comment now. That is fucking awesome. I mean, that's actual proof from like an actual doctor, pretty much.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I did that and fixed up my whole gut. I was having digestive problems, and I've got another video somewhere where my digestive was very, very out of whack, allergenic, and I did a 30-second clearing on it. What I found very interesting was whether we took 2 minutes to do the clearing or it took me 20 seconds made no difference to the results. And so it showed me that often we think we've got to do more. I even experimented, but rather than doing all the 5 steps one after the other, which I normally do, I just imagined all of them being done at once, and I commanded that all the steps be done at once and literally got the same result. So, in fact, a guy who I work with who's an acupuncturist, he told me that we were talking about this, and he experimented with everything from changing the needles to tiny needles that didn't even hardly go in, same results. Even imagining doing energetic acupuncture, same results. So that's how powerful this stuff actually is. So now on that note, who's found this fascinating today and is keen to find out a little bit more about this program? I know quite a few of you are already enrolled. I've noticed there's a lot of people already, but who's found it interesting today and keen to find out more about this? If you're not doing it, I strongly recommend you do. Okay, so let's go through this. So I'll explain what's included in this program. So basically, it's a 3-month program, which is a mixture of online recorded trainings and one-on-one sessions. Because we find we do want the one-on-one sessions as well as the group get-togethers and things like that. So the first session is that William will help you remember your soul group and soul purpose and who you really are. So it's all about knowing your soul purpose. So that's all about that. So in that session, you're going to be getting the following. You will get a soul group reading and clearing activation session to help you accelerate into and know into your God-given soul purpose. So that's the first thing. And secondly, your second session will be a soul gifts reading and clearing to learn your unique soul gifts, to know what to focus on to help you improve. I find this kind of stuff very important. I used to be stabbing in the dark a lot, and some of you probably know what I mean, where you're kind of going, I'm kind of good at this and good at that. Once I realized my soul gifts, I knew more what to focus on and what not to. So this helps you to exercise your talent in line with your soul mission and what you've really been basically called to do. Third, we help you clear the shit which stops you from living your soul purpose. In those ones, you get the checklist clearing that we've mentioned, but you get a personalized clearing session that goes through your particular blocks with different traumas. Then we do an energetic detox where we walk through all the checklists of Raymond Grace to see what's in you, and you learn how to do that for yourself. Then we do an auric etheric body clearing, which we go through, and that one can take a bit of time, but where we clear everything out. This can be the most intense, and you generally need to allow a good week to recover after it, is my experience. So we use the ancient protocols to do this. We remove all the ids, occupants, discarnates, and everything else from your chakras. Then what we do is we close the draining energy portals and wormholes and clear all your negative energy attachments from your 8 morphogenetic chakras.
Yeah, and keep in mind as well, everyone, that this auric clearing is split into 2 sessions instead of the one, because otherwise, as you and I know, Warren, like one session is far too much for a novice.
Yeah, correct.
But when it's split in 2, it works very well.
Yep, and then finally, we help you integrate the sessions to live it in your daily life. So this helps you to integrate the teachings to do that and prosper your souls and others and leaving a powerful legacy. And also in that final session, we can go through the next steps customized for you to continue your spiritual awakening journey. We also give some bonuses, and the reason why is just some recorded trainings on our membership site so you can access them. And we've just been working on improving it significantly. There's going to be a soul groups training that you'll be able to go through and go over and over it yourself. You'll be getting access to a detox checklist clearing that we're going to do, which you can go through one by one on the site. You'll be able to access recorded auric clearing, so you can do it yourself as well after if you want to do a refresher. And also, to help you integrate in your daily life, this is what's called my introductory manifestation program, Change Your Energy, Change Your Life. So this is based on what Raymond Grace taught, which is how to awaken your manifestation ability and your unique manifestation skills. So as a summary or recap, this is what you get. Soul groups, readings, soul gifts, personalized clearing, the checklist with 1, 2 auric etheric body clearings and integration sessions. And you also get lots and lots of recorded bonuses for duration of the program and a good 30 days after completion. So this is what we've charged individually for the different programs when we've done them, to give you a bit of an idea. So when we've done these are what we charged when we did them individually, and we ran them as live group programs, and we're doing these one-on-one sessions at this level. Basically, we're actually giving a special offer just for this month because we're in a transition with it. And basically it's going to be a money back guarantee. In other words, if you sign up and then before the end of February you decide that you change your mind, you can pull back from it. How do you take this offer? Very simply, it's $19.97 US, but we give you a discount code to effectively make it Australian dollars, is how we do it. So what you need to do is go to the landing page, which is here on this page, and basically sign up for it here. And then what you also want to make sure that you do is you use the discount code. And the discount code is basically Reconnect. So this gives you the 35% off. So discount code, 35%. So you can see that there. So any questions on that? Or comments? Any questions or comments? Antonella, when does it start? It basically will start when you sign up. Good question. So what will happen is that you will sign up. As soon as you do that, you'll be onboarded. So William and the team will contact you. You'll be offered to have your initial session to get started, and the program will get straight underway. So basically, the 3-month program is very precise system that we follow, but you can start it pretty much straight away, Antonella. So as soon as you sign up, you can start straight away. Any other questions? I'm getting a couple of people saying they're very keen. Just type a Y in the chat if your lender is on the phone, can't see details, will it be emailed? Yes, I will get William. If you can straight up this webinar, make sure it gets emailed, okay?
Yeah, no worries.
Tony, day and time. Okay. The main thing to understand, it's not a specific program, Tony, where it's going to be live. The good thing about it is you'll be able to do it in your own time and be able to choose your sessions at times that work for you. So it's a great program. David said, fantastic. Oh, I'm telling you, it's brilliant. We've had lots of people do this one, and we're only improving as we're doing it. It changed my life. It basically, so as soon as you sign up, Tony, then immediately this is what will happen. You'll be contacted and onboarded. You will then be given a booking link to book in your first appointment with William to get started. You'll create your plan together, and you'll be straight on the way. Reading your soul group happening straight away. You'll get access to the courses straight away. David?
Yes, because all the details and the instructions will be in the confirmation email that everyone receives once they sign up.
Absolutely. So David says, looks fantastic. Be great for people with mental health issues. Absolutely. I found when I did this kind of stuff, my mental health was fantastic. I remember when I stopped doing it for a while, David, my mental health went downhill really fast. So absolutely.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, like when I became slack with it at points, my mental health went down the toilet as well.
Yes.
But this isn't a one and done thing. It's something that needs to be done consistently.
100%. Great for your mental health, heals your emotional body. Yeah, 100%. So heals emotional body. Because once you clear the etheric, I remember when I worked with keep in mind that Dr. Venus Williams, to get this kind of etheric clearing, I paid her one-on-one, as one of the world experts, I think $6,000 just for 4 sessions of her one-on-one. So, which basically I saw the results from it, but learning about etheric body clearing, how things are kind of locked in there and how to read them and get them out. So that's what we're focusing on here to really help you clear these out. So does that make sense, Tony? For those of you like Tony, our stay in time, does everyone understand now that it's actually a program that you can sign up for, and you don't have a set day to go to it? Basically, you have recorded trainings you can do in your own time, but you'll be getting your one-on-one sessions at agreed times that you can book in on a calendar, which works for you with one of the team. Is everyone following that? Any other questions? And if you need to talk to William or ask more questions, just email us as well. David asked, does it tie in with DNA activation? That's actually a really good question. The answer is yes, because what we find is that William, in fact, insists himself. He finds that if people do an auric clearing before DNA activations, makes a big difference, get much better results. So
Well, yes, and it's also the process. You mean like that for DNA, you need at least auric, clearing, J seals, and karmic before you do DNA. You need to at least
definitely
do
in the
those.
auric clearing. Yep.
Yes, but there's quite a bit to go through before DNA. So yes, the only time really is that someone would like have it a bit quicker is if they're ready at that level, so to speak.
Correct. Yeah. So generally, though, when I did my DNA activations, before that, I did a very detailed auric etheric body clearing in great depth. Like I paid actually quite a lot of money for 6 sessions. That's how deep I went into it. And only once I'd done all that, I was ready for DNA. So you do need a really good detox and clear. So
Yes.
that's what we focus on doing auric clearings and doing a DNA activation. So it's very helpful. This program will definitely help by getting you aligned and getting you cleaned up. Then it can accelerate you into your spiritual path. Any more questions? Just type in the chat. Obviously, there's no obligation. Some of you have already messaged me privately, but just type in the chat a why if you're genuinely interested in this program and not already in it. Yep, got a couple of whys here. David, one more question. Ask away. Yep, Glenda, yep. One more question, is there? Yep. Yeah, what is a question answer I ask? Yes, we're just waiting on one more question on it. Oh, the work that you do, can you help with autism and intellectual disability? The short answer is autism and intellectual disability. I think it definitely helps. I mean, I would be irresponsible to say it's all that does it, although I have known people that did this, that is literally, that's all they needed to solve it. Often people need a bit more, like neurofeedback or various other mental health kind of services. Most people tend to, I find. Neurofeedback, my experience is something like this combined with neurofeedback gets extraordinary results. So something like this combined with really good neurofeedback to work on the brain level. That's been my observation. But good question, David. Okay, well, this has been great. I don't know what you reckon, William, but I think this has been marvelous.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's been great, and it's great that we had an excellent bunch of people tonight. I mean, it's great to see everyone very engaging tonight and keen.
Brilliant. Well, thank you, everyone, and look forward to hearing from you. You got the link. If you got any questions, just email William or myself direct if you do have any questions or want to discuss it further. We will be emailing out the link and the code as well, so you can get it for those of you in that, and we can go from there. So thanks, everyone. Thanks, William. Bye for now.
Yep, thanks, everyone. Have a good one.